One God, one world family. One God, one world family.
एक यही आवाज हर दिल से निकली.
एक यही आवाज हर दिल से.
And so we are going to talk about how to have a life without wrinkles, how to have a life without those wasteful thoughts. And I would like to start, if the sisters, lady here, allow me, I would like to start with the brother there first. Charlie Bai, whenever a problem comes to you, big problem, big obstacle, how do you deal with that so that you can remain cheerful, smiling, you are always greeting everyone? What's your special trick?
I think that one of the things is experience, because in my early days, I think, like most of us, things would affect me quite easily. But I feel that in recent times, or perhaps for quite some time, I've really learned not to let the external world control my internal world. And it's sort of been a focus for quite some time for me to be in this world, close, communicating, involved, but not absorbing. And a little phrase I often use and I often mention is that I try to observe and not absorb. It's one of my favorite little sayings. But I do feel that we all have a huge challenge in life today, because we live in such a busy world. You know, we live in a world where speed has just become like God. We live in a world where people are so distressed, unhappy and peaceless. And in the reality of this world, Baba is telling all of us to retain this internal silence and not surrender my mind to have this overactive thinking, this sort of culture of wasteful thinking. And I often feel that, you know, the little mind is such a precious thing. And sometimes it's bombarded from the external world, you know, bombarded with information, with people's attitudes and behaviors. That's sort of coming. And then internally, it's bombarded with over-analyzing, reacting, processing my feelings. You know, my mind is driven. It's like I've lost control of my mind. And I think that we crave that silence, which I sort of feel is a state without waste or negativity, a state of pure thought. It is a state of thought, but I've removed the rubbish. We crave this feeling. But I honestly feel we're also afraid of that feeling too, because the noise has a purpose, the busyness has a purpose. And I think it's a form of denial or avoidance to really look deep inside to see who am I really. Because one of my experiences is that when I'm really silent, it's like a mirror where you can see yourself really clearly. You can see the eternal beauty. You know, the eternal beauty becomes clear, but the present disturbance, the rubbish, also becomes clear. And I think in that silence, it's such a gift from Baba to be able to really deeply see what is there and start to work with this account of waste. Because for me, I think that there's three forms of silence that I love to have. The first is the silence of the mind, which is an absence of mental noise, mental waste. And I would really say it's like, you know, all the confusion, the indecision, all these things. And the image I've had in recent years is to make my mind like a sacred place. My mind is sacred. Baba has actually told me to keep this mind within the myriads of pure thought, if I can put it that way. So in other words, only to allow my mind to live within churning of knowledge, seeing virtue, remembering Baba, doing Mansa Seva. You know, it's like Baba's given me permission to keep in my sacred place inside of myself just these things. Because when I step outside and I react to life, it drives that habit of wasteful thinking, and we just surrender. So I feel to be proactive, to keep my mind really healthy and contain it within these mariadas of the mind rather than reactive. And it just drives my thinking, and the account of waste goes higher and higher. And so that first gift from Baba, I would say, is the silence of the mind, and the second is the silence of the heart. And this to me is an absence of the emotional noise. You know, that noise creates more waste than any other noise. And I've thought a lot about, you know, the noise of hurt feelings, the noise of not belonging, the noise of not feeling respected or loved. That noise can be so loud inside my head. And my own reflection shows me that the only way to deal with that noise is deep love from Baba. It's like just experiencing the pure essence of love from Baba. My experience is that, you know, when the mind experiences love, it just cools and calms. Love is like the first desire, and when I taste love, it's like all desires are satisfied. But if the mind doesn't taste true love, it can never rest. It's like agitated. And it's constantly sort of producing wasteful feelings because I don't feel that purity of love that Baba can offer. And so to deal with the silence of the heart, to really cool my emotional state down, I've got to educate myself how to feel absolutely loved by Baba. There's even, I think, the silence of the conscience too, because the conscience, you know, when there's regret and guilt in the conscience, it's really hard to feel silent and calm. And to me, the conscience is like my vessel of truth. And if I go against my truth, that's probably the greatest pain. It can probably produce more waste than anything, the guilty feelings, the regret of something which I felt I needed to do. And for that I regret that I did. And for that, I think I need to really understand the value of Baba's directions, because they keep my actions accurate, and so that it doesn't create a conscience driven by guilty feelings. And to me, I think those three things, the silence of the mind, the silence of the heart, and the silence of the conscience, really sort of embed pure thought inside my internal system.
That's great, huh? Did you like? Did you enjoy? Yeah? Let's take a few seconds. Let's see what can I apply for the day out of everything that Charlie Bai said. What can I apply so that those wasteful thoughts that come due to obstacles mainly, I can deal with that? And now, let's go to Morni. Morni, she has a very long life in Brahmin also. When did you come?
77.
77 also. Some of you were not even in this body, right? And she was already in Gyan. So I guess in this long life, you had some barriers in your life. Walls, big walls, that you thought you couldn't cross, or it was very difficult. But you crossed, you are here. What did you do to overcome those barriers and to experience that blissful stage? No wasteful thoughts, no worries, no problems.
Yeah, it seems to me that mostly it's been just the right thought, like a real shift by finding the right thought. And apparently the early cycle really it had an Om in the middle. I've seen this picture, and It's like there's 360 angles to look at anything. And when I can look at something from the right angle, it's like I can get out of this spinning. And just a few of those. One was one of the BKs in Madhuban invited Dadi Gulzar to his place. And there was just him, Dadi Gulzar, and one other person. And I was kind of around, and I thought, why didn't he invite me? And it was a little bit like, this thing was coming up. But then I thought, it's more important to be like Dadi than to be with Dadi. And as soon as I had the right thought, free. So whenever I can just find the right way of looking. Another time I felt pushed out in a particular situation. I felt pushed out. Again, I was looking for the right angle. And then I thought, I'm not pushed out, I'm pushed up. And as soon as I felt pushed up, I felt so empowered, intoxicated, and I felt like anything can happen now. Let's see what happens. And immediately, within a week, something really great emerged. But if I had continued with that thought, pushed out, I'm sure I would have attracted that kind of an experience of more pushing out. Because we attract to us what we're holding in our mind. And one other little incident that just comes to mind, I mean, there's so many, but one incident that comes to my mind, I was asked to go to Hong Kong for 3 months. After 16 years, I kind of really felt I really want to leave, I don't know, it was just like the feeling, when you just have that feeling it's time to move on, something like that. And I really wanted to leave, but Dadi asked me to stay. She said, please stay, who is going to take care, stay. And so I agreed, of course, to stay. And I remember, really feeling a big struggle in myself. And I was actually with Dadi, so when I was flying into Hong Kong, even a few little tears was like, because it was just something going on inside me, nothing to do with Hong Kong or the family really, but just something inside me. And I arrived in Hong Kong and I was just feeling I didn't want to be there. And I thought, I'm going to have to make myself happy. I can't stay here and not be happy. I can't serve and not be happy. How long? This was during Amrit Vela I was having this thought, and I thought, how long is it going to take to make myself happy? How am I going to make myself happy? I was just having these thoughts. Then I went back, took a bath, came back for class, and I was sitting for that half an hour meditation before class, and in that half an hour, Baba completely rearranged my head. Really, it was such a good experience of yoga, and he just rearranged my head, and then I was just happy to be there. And people would say to me, how much longer do you think you'll be in Hong Kong? And I'd say, I'll probably die here. But with complete acceptance. And I thought, that's like a miracle. I mean, how could I have made that effort? And how long would it take? And what would I do? And Baba just did it in half an hour. And it just lasted also. It wasn't just a passing thing. It lasted. So I think this is, for me, a very good experience of yoga. But also, there's a few things behind it. One is that Baba says, your courage and his help. So in that sense, I guess I had courage to do what Baba wanted rather than what I felt. So there was that courage. But also the aspect of communicating with Baba. So I think this has been my practice, communicating with myself and also with Baba. Because sometimes we only listen to the seniors. We even forget Baba, I feel, because it's a habit of I think, growing up to just follow and obey and look to seniors. And to a certain extent, of course, that's very good. But we should never lose Baba in that. And I remember Didi Nirmala, she's wonderfully straight. And I remember her saying something like that to me. She said, "But you're not supposed to follow me, you're supposed to follow Baba." And that was in the very early days of my Brahmin life. And it was really a great shift that happened in that. I mean, whilst the seniors are there as our examples, like Daddy said last night, follow Father, see Father, follow Father, and that really keeps us straight. Another one is, I think we all have challenges. I know we all have challenges. And a few years ago, I started to have this very clear feeling, and I share this with others, that I'm now bulletproof. I feel bulletproof. I don't care what anyone does to me. I'm bulletproof. And it's not that people won't attack. It's not that you won't be under some kind of attack from somewhere. But I'm bulletproof now.
Thank you, Morny. Thank you. That was great. Let's have also a few seconds. How can I apply whatever Morny is saying for some situation that's happening in my life? So let's just remember the words, and as she said, let's connect to Baba and just feel that Baba said something through her to me personally. Now, I'd like to ask Mara, I don't know how many of you have seen the center of Baba in Lisbon. It's a little palace, literally. And I'd like to know about how did you deal with the challenges, especially related to that place, because of money, souls, people. We all know how Europe is in a financial crisis, and they just inaugurated last year an auditorium for 600 people. Baba built an auditorium for 600 people there with no money. So you can talk a little bit about that.
Om Shanti, it's very nice to be here with all of you and to be able to share a little bit of this beautiful experience. And it really all begins inside our thoughts, inside the lab of our minds. So since 10 years we have been in this big project of making impossible things possible. This is what I can tell you, because Portugal is not at all a rich place nowadays with lots of economical problems. And I've seen things happening like a miracle myself. But then obviously lots of effort is in there. But it's not really physical effort come after. But first of all, the effort involved has been always in the level of thoughts. So when we had nothing, just a very tiny little center, I remember that we got together, brothers and sisters, and we had a thought together. So what do we need? What does Baba's children need? And I remember thinking, they are worth of receiving the best. So that was the idea. Baba's children deserve the best. Doesn't matter what happens in the world outside, but they are Baba's children. And so all began with this feeling and this thought. And then always checking the intention behind things. Because if you do this work yourself in any area, you see how many great things can happen just with intention. So if the intention is pure, if your thoughts and feelings regarding something is really pure, why not? It has to happen. But sometimes takes time. So this is the challenge, this is the challenge Marcelo is asking about. takes time. Many situations will come on the way. I remember when I understood that not everyone had the same faith that I had, or a few of us had. It was a shock for me. So I had to get over this also. So how can I keep my faith intact when others are not having the faith? So this is something you have to, go inside and get it. You have to work on your thoughts. You have to work on your feelings. And an instrument, whoever is in front of whatever plan or project, if you fall in your ideas, thousands of people behind you, they will also fall. So you cannot fall. If you have a name, you have to keep it in high standard. You have to really follow up with that. You have to be in that level. And it's a very big challenge. Just not to be influenced, not to let your mind, your feelings be influenced by anything outside. So that was a big thing. And then, we kept on doing things, and always faith, full faith. That is something that really I love 100%. I think, if you keep this also in your mind, everything can become possible. Never doubt anything. If you are with Baba, if the purpose of something is very elevated, why not? Baba is behind it. The project belongs to Baba, it doesn't belong to you. It's not a human being doing it. It's someone else, God. And so, in times of really need, saying, okay, Baba, what is now? Okay? It's not that we are only in the level of thought, not doing very practical things at the same time, but also in the level of thoughts. Baba, what is next? What should we do now? We haven't got money for this, or we are saying we are going to move ahead with that in that area, and how? But we have no funds for this. And then all of a sudden, someone would show up, someone I would never know from anywhere, or any situation would show up, and we would be able to finish that plan in that way we thought, or sometimes changing a little bit, because we have to be very flexible, we have to be open, and everything is happening inside, not outside, inside, just to keep up with the situation. So what Baba wants. And then we managed to really to get this big place, to renovate everything. It is beautiful. And then the idea was, Baba, why not, offering this to everyone in Europe so people can come here and stay here and have their retreats. That was the idea, just a thought. No money, just a thought. But always inviting people and making them really feeling good in Baba's home. And then another miracle. So why not? So it has happened also. We got many other people helped. We have now a big accommodation set with nearly 40 people. And we built a hall just with blessings, Daddy's blessings. Daddy Guzar came to inaugurate the founding ceremony. It was a ceremony of the beginning of the construction. Only the walls were there, no roof. And Daddy was so touched. These people are inviting me just to inaugurate 4 walls. Only half. She was so touched. She never forgot it, never. Whenever she sees me, she remembers the wall without roof. And then, a good excuse to show her that now it's so beautiful. So, with so many blessings, it's done completely. 600 people can sit there. And what else can we say? With no money. I tell you, this is true, real. So, Just keep your minds in a very high standard. You believe your feelings, believe your thoughts, put energy on it. Give it to Baba. Baba knows what is best. Don't be stubborn, I want like this. No. Baba knows what he wants, when he wants. Drama is perfect. And what else can we say? Om Shanti.
Thank you, Mara. Thank you, Mara. So let's take also a few seconds, because all of us are involved in some project of service, some center, country, or perhaps we want to be involved in some project. So let's think about whatever we heard now. Which points out of them, all the points she gave, can be helpful for me? Om Shanti. Now we have a time restraint. 11:30, as you know, there will be the gift ceremony here for those who didn't receive gift. So we have to leave after that. Before that. So I would like to ask them something different, not a question anymore. I would like to make us do some exercise, some drill. Because whenever we face some obstacle, those obstacles we overcome, we always do some type of exercise. We do it to Baba's room, we go there and we meditate in a certain stage, or perhaps we drink a very good chai, or we call a senior and we talk to them. We do something that is not the solution, but it's a tool. It helps to solve the problem, the situation. So I asked them before if they could do some exercise with us in relation to that. And I'd like to start with Charlie again. Yeah? Or morning. Yeah? Charlie, morning. Brothers first. Okay. So he can make us do some exercise.
So, thank you, Marcelo. Maybe if I can just request for these few moments, if we put down our books and just relax and sit alert, because I know this time of day it's a bit easy to waft away. I'm just going to offer a few thoughts for a few minutes of some things I do to keep my mind a sacred place, to keep my mind clean and elevated as the world swirls around me. So let's just sit very quietly and just visualize your mind as a very sacred place inside. And observe the world swirling around you. Storms of thoughts and feelings and activities and behaviors. How can I protect my mind so that it remains silent, calm and still as the storm swirls around me? For me, I need tools to protect my mind. And the first tool that Baba gives is to apply a full stop in a second. As we go about the day, situations trigger my thinking. And waste thoughts are like a tsunami that takes over the mind. Now just visualize the full stop. In a second I stop and become aware. And I redirect my thinking to sustain this sacred space. The full stop is looking through the filter of truth, seeing the incident through Baba's eyes. It's a drama, it's a game. My job is to keep my mind in this calm and sacred place. Even now, in 1 second, put a full stop to any unwanted thinking and redirect it to sustain this sacred place. The second tool is the switch. When I notice my mind dwelling on someone's weakness, looking at their faults, feeling upset, switch in a second from negative to positive, from mine to yours. Just take that strength with Baba and realize Baba wants me to sustain this sweet and sacred place. Nothing impure should enter. Turn on the switch of light and flush out the thinking immediately. The third tool I need is the pause button. When I'm meditating and I start to plan and think what I should do, apply the pause button. I can do this later. To have unadulterated time with Baba, this pure company with one, will keep my thinking more elevated than anything. So just tell myself I can think about it later. To keep this sacred space, my mind so clean, I need the tools of a full stop, a switch, and a pause button. And I remain within the Maryadas of the mind. If I do this throughout the day, I can instantly go to Baba when I sit in meditation. These tools protect me from the account of waste and sustain this elevated and sacred mind.
It was powerful, right? Really good. So let's see now morning. What do you have for us?
So as I said, one of my main tools is to talk to the self. So we can just do a few little exercises of this. So the first one is just to go deep inside and to really ask yourself, what is the main obstacle that comes in the way of your connection with Baba? Just spend time in silence doing this yourself. Just check, what is that main thought that keeps coming in the way of my connection with Baba? I would be interested to know if anyone has a different response, but for me, it's I. I wasn't told, I wasn't consulted, I think, I feel. But maybe for you it's different. But just identify what the main obstacle is in connection. And secondly, so often we want to be seen, to be recognized, to be validated, to be appreciated. So now spend a few minutes sitting in front of Baba, asking Baba directly, how am I doing? Are you happy with me? Is there anything you would like me to change? If Baba's happy with me, then I feel I'm on the right path. Why do I look for validation from others when God is there as my guide, my mirror, my support, my friend? The time is perhaps a little short for this, but take some time, even write a letter to yourself from Baba in response. And of course, Baba tells us, as you are, what you are, I love you. So even if there's something to correct, still keep connected in Baba's love.
again, powerful, enlightening. So let's hear now Mara. What does she have for us?
Om Shanti. I would like to take you into a little exercise. And so the first thing is to remember one project or one situation that you would like to be fulfilled. Now, I ask myself, what is the intention behind this project or situation I want to fulfill? Is it going to be good for everyone involved? Are my feelings pure regarding everything which involves this situation or project? Now, with the right intention and motives, I will go to the subtle region and I will take this project or situation and give to Bap Dada. Bap Dada is waiting for me. And I place the project in front of him. Now this project belongs to Baba and not to me. He is the one in charge of it. And if everything is accurate, and if the time is right, He will help me. And things will happen in a very nice way. Now, still in front of Bap Dada, we take a very long and deep drishti. There is a deep feeling of belonging. And there is a current from Baba to me, a current of power and deep love. So from now on, every day I will water this project with the rays of power and love coming from Baba. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Mara. Well, let's thank these three people here for their time here, for giving. Yes. Okay. For giving us some valuable tools and allow us to go to another level of thought.